Good evening, everybody. Welcome once again. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas, the great American auto scene. And we're here with a special guest today. Besides our own, very own natural blonde, Bruce.
You know, it's funny. This doesn't come up much. I don't know what happened. I was born a redhead, but like 20 years ago, it went blonde.
That's what happened to me.
Is that
That is
weirdo?
exactly what happened to me.
That is weird. And there wasn't any, as far as I know, no radioactivity involved or anything. It just happened. And of course, now I'm ever more, Bob, platinum blonde.
Well, I'm chrome.
Chrome.
Yeah, I'm a car guy. It's chrome. I mean, you know. All right, we've got Bruce. And with us, you just saw her, our other natural blonde. It is Anna Octane.
I got to look up those photos when you're a kid. I got to see the red hair.
Okay.
We got to
show
find
you.
those, yeah. Send us your photos of when you were a kid, and we'll all laugh at them. No, we'll get it. We'll get some pictures of us. You can see what we changed to be over the years in our car persona and such forth. And then our other guest tonight is Stormy Bird. How you doing, Stormy?
Oh, it is a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
And I will be tonight's referee between the match here.
Will you?
Well deserved as well. What color was your hair? Was it green when you were born?
Mine was black, now it's chrome.
Oh, okay. Man, see, we're all getting a good chrome job.
Yeah. A chrome job. That's not what I had in mind. Hey,
I don't call it gray, it's chrome.
What do you get for a chrome job? I don't know.
It's $5.
Wow.
$5. Yeah. See what you get for $5?
This was not what the show is supposed to be
it's not
about, but
supposed to be.
I gotta say this. I am tired of taking the same chrome parts back to the shop. Mm-hmm. You cannot, at least in my experience in this state, anywhere, you cannot get a good chrome job anymore.
No,
It's got to go out of state because of the chemicals and everything.
chemicals, the EPA.
killing me.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow. That,
I know a good chrome shop.
Yeah?
Millennium Chrome in Ontario.
Millennium Chrome.
Millennium
All right,
Chrome.
put
They
that on
did the
your
chrome
list.
on my 55 Studebaker, and it
Okay.
came out really nice.
I am very jealous. I spent a fortune. You know how many pieces of chrome are on a bigger car like that Lincoln out there.
Oh, gosh.
Holy cow,
The
I got
car
the
is
thing
chrome.
back together. And, within 6 months, there's like little buds of rust and flaking, and it's starting to peel off. I'm going, I spent thousands of dollars on this, but what are you going to do? There you go, my wine for the night. Everything
Your wine
else
for
is
the
going to be
night.
good news.
Do you bring any cheese?
Yes.
And crackers.
nice when they're rough.
Yeah. All right, one
Matches
for the
even.
storm guy. Yeah. All right, we got a lot of information from people. We've got a lot of input from our listeners and watchers, and we're glad you're watching. We're glad you're enjoying it. We're going to be talking about some things you have told us a little bit later on. But one of the things we're going to be talking about in the majority of the show tonight, we're going to talk about how some of the laws and the proposed laws are going to affect you, the driver, the hobby, and your cars in general. And Anna's been reading something, and one of the best magazines that I know in the industry is called Auto Week. Now, it's put out by the same people that put out Automotive News, which is the trade publication for the automotive industry. Auto Week is their enthusiast publication, and there's some crossover, but one of the things they went over, and Anna brought to my attention, because I get so many magazines, I don't get to read them all, and I didn't read this particular issue, is the autonomous car plus your cell phone is going to become a stooge for you, and other things. Anna, you read the article a little bit more. What do we got going on this?
Oh boy, do we got a lot going on. First of all, I just want to say that the automotive hobbyist is the most powerful voter that we have, and nobody's exercising that power. Everybody's lazy. They're not
sitting back.
voting. But let me tell you what happened. In 2011, a 19-year-old kid named Evan Lieberman in New York was hit by an individual who was texting, and it killed him. And his father, Bill, has been lobbying for a new law called Evans Law, and what that will do is turn a texting and driving incident similar into a DUI. And they're coming up with new technology. One's called a textilizer. And what the textilizer will do is radio frequency on your cell phone, and it will be able to tell the police within 90 seconds of you texting, without them seeing your phone, it's from outside of your car, whether or not you were texting when you were driving.
All right, now one of the pitfalls of this, is we talked about it earlier, was they can't tell which phone in the car is being used for texting. If you've got a passenger load of people in your car, and someone in the back seat is texting, you still get pulled over, and the driver's got to prove
It wasn't
somehow
him.
that it wasn't them.
That's correct.
That
Yeah, so Big Brother's getting into your phone, and the other thing that's happening is they're making you handheld radar guns that when you make a phone call versus when you text, it's a different frequency. Same thing, they can't tell who's on the phone, but they can get you in a like a radar trap for the being on the cell phone as well. So they're going to push it so that it's as what do they call it when you're not a misdemeanor or a felony, but it's going to be as bad as a DUI, because what's happening is all these texting and phone distracted driving is causing deaths, and it's nameless and faceless, and they want people to be accountable for it. So they're really going after us.
So that's going to become a felony.
Probably
not a
it will be
misdemeanor.
a felony. Yeah.
One of the things that we talked about with this too is even with that handheld radar, they still can't tell who was texting or who was on the phone. And so you're in your car, you've got passengers, and let's just say you're in a carpool. You've got a van full of people. Who's texting?
Yeah,
You get pulled over.
Well, there's it's just about distracted driving. They're calling distracted driving the new drunk driving, and I sent a couple of pictures in to show what that is. If you are driving and eating a hamburger, that is distracted driving. If you are driving and putting on your mascara,
No, I don't have that problem.
like I do, that is distracted driving. Texting is distracted driving. Anything that you do that keeps your focus off of the road specifically and driving is distracted driving. Dogs in your lap, turning around to smack the kid, whatever you're doing is distracted driving, and they're going to start really cracking down on it.
Well, I can agree with some of the stuff. The mascara, the dog on your lap, definitely the texting, and I've seen it.
Yeah.
I think we've all seen it. Where
think we've
all of a
all,
sudden
yeah.
the car slows down in front of you, and you're trying to figure out why. Well, they're texting. And actually, I just had that as I pulled into the studio.
Yeah.
A guy made the turn and then slows down, and I get alongside I pass them because they're hardly moving.
Yeah.
They're texting.
Yeah, or taking a selfie in the car, taking pictures when you're in the car. Anything that distracts your eyes from the road is distracted driving.
Playing devil's advocate, it is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
One thing, you don't want people distracted or texting and stuff. And the other thing is, to the state, it's a big income source.
Yes.
Yeah,
Huge.
it's going to be, and it's going to be bigger. But you've got the downside, like we talked about, is the deaths, the accidents that are happening because of this distracted driving. And we do have to stop the distracted driving, but we do have to make people responsible first. And that is something we're taking away. And one of the other ways, the autonomous cars.
Yeah, well, it's true. And, to piggyback on that, before we get to the autonomous cars, Stormy, you mentioned the revenue source. And, of course, a great example is that here in the San Fernando Valley in Southern California, recently they started charging at all the metro train stations for parking. It used to be free. But we're very near Universal Studios Hollywood here. And people were parking at the train station and then taking the train to Universal because it's $18 to park there, and it was free to park at the train stop.
Okay.
So you take a $2 train ride, you're at the park, and you don't have to pay parking. Well, so now what they're doing, now they're charging $3 per car to park at the train station, which means people are still going to park there because it's still $15 cheaper.
But it's an income
It's an
source.
income source.
Yeah, but
so
now-
it won't curb the problem. It'll just be another way for the government to
But
make
like
Now
money.
here's the problem: is you've got people. The city is trying to get us to go on Metrolink. They're trying to get us on the train. They're trying to get us off private transportation. They're trying to get us on public transportation. It's already too expensive to be on public transportation.
Yeah.
Now, I looked into it for myself at one point in time when I had a job that I actually worked in an office every day. The cost was prohibitive. It was going to cost me $15 each way to get to the office. It would take me 2 hours to make the 45-minute drive instead of a 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
And now you add in parking.
Yeah.
And we had to have 2 cars. You have to have one at the location you're going to because it's not where you're working, and you had to get to the other station somehow. So you had to have a second car.
The time, yeah. The amount of time it takes seems to me right there that's problematic. And you're right, then you get the costs on top of that.
Well,
so.
you have a mayor, Yoga Pants Garcetti here now, that there's nothing wrong with riding bikes, but he wants to shut down major streets for half bikes. You already have a traffic problem, so you're just increasing the traffic problem. It's just where's the end? Because you want clean air and stuff. We have pretty good air, considering all the catalytic converters and stuff. We've switched over to unleaded fuels over the years, and you don't see the stage 3 smog alerts like we used to. But that's why one of the reasons I left Los Angeles. I just can't take the traffic. I can't take the politics anymore, and it's insane. There's just too many people.
Well, we went through this years ago. The 210 freeway. We had two major cross highways that traverse the mountain roads here in California. They actually don't traverse them. They parallel the mountain roads. There was the 210 freeway and the 118 freeway. Now, both of these eliminated the need to take surface streets or get stuck on freeways that were already busy that were south of where you needed to be. The 118 freeway and the 210 were stopped by our own Governor Jerky Brown, Moonbeam, because he said he wants people to carpool. Well, the problem with people carpooling, you couldn't do it. And at one point in time, they wanted 3 people per car for a carpool, which in my case at the time really didn't work because I had a 2-seater. So here I could have a full car, but I couldn't go into a carpool lane. And now Jerky Brown's trying to bring the 3-person vehicle back. And they don't want you to drive.
Well, I have something to say about that.
Go right ahead.
Autonomous vehicles are scary to me. I mean, they're using them in Japan. They they're good for an elderly population, but when you're in an autonomous car, you don't have. Where's your car culture? There's no car culture. Where you're totally on camera. They've completely locked you into the grid. You don't have the choice to drive what vehicle you want. They're slowly pushing out vintage vehicles. They're going to start saying you can only drive them 5,000 miles a year for recreation only. So does that mean I don't get to drive my 66 Mustang every day?
And that's just it. If you have an old car you want to use as a daily driver, and I've got another problem with that too that I've run into. I have a older Corvette. I have to go through a special smog check every 2 years as a gross polluter. Now, the car still reads on the last test cleaner than what the standard is. But I have to go to a special smog station, and if I fail, they can confiscate the vehicle. Not the smog station, but the state. They'll give you, I think it's $1,500, and guess what? You cannot sell your car. You cannot junk your car. Well, you can junk it. You cannot sell the car, and if you can't repair it to their satisfaction, you lose it.
Well, that's the enforcement that's going on to get all your private cars off of the roads because they want you on Metro Rail and they want you in autonomous cars. And if they just take the cars away from you, you don't have any choice but to buy what they want you to buy. So that's thanks to the California Air Resource Board
and Jerky Brown.
So we have a problem in California with that. That's for sure.
Well, it's the reverse of what actually happened when we started the automotive craze here in Southern California. Goodyear and Generous Motors bought out the red car, which was already a mass transit system we had in Southern California that was very effective and was being used quite a bit at the time because there weren't that many cars at that point. We still had cars, but we didn't have as much, and people did rely on public transportation. General Motors and Goodyear bought the red car, sold them. They're still in operation in South America. And they found some of them that are no longer operational. But they left California, and the tracks were still in the ground through the early 70s.
Sure.
Standard Oil was part of that little conspiracy thing that you buy our buses, our tires, and our fuel, our diesel, and they eliminated it. And guess what? They went back to what? A red line, a blue line, an orange line? Wow, didn't we have this 50 years ago?
And we've taken a situation where it's costly. They are not making money. It is not self-supporting.
That's right.
We have to subsidize it because it does not pay for itself. So they're forcing us into a non-private vehicle through various ways. Plus, they're taking away the right to drive, and it is a right, or a privilege.
Yeah.
But they're taking away that privilege because those that don't like cars don't want you to either.
Isn't that the way things operate these days, though?
Mm-hmm.
That you will do what I say because this is what I think you should do. You know, one block south of here, just a block is Chandler Boulevard. Chandler is an east-west street that used to have railroad tracks on it. It used to actually not be so much a street, but it was a railway. In addition, and actually those tracks were torn up 10 years ago, very recently. And now they're talking about, boy, we need light rail around here that we can run east to west.
Well, you took it out, you jerks. We had it. I remember when I was a kid, those tracks were active.
Yeah.
It went all the way across the San Fernando Valley. You had not only, at that point in time, we didn't have passenger going across the valley.
Yeah, I think it was
all commercial. It was all freight.
Yeah.
But still, that would work. And we've got someone on the phone. We're going to digress for a little bit, get off this subject. We'll get back to it in a bit.
I know.
But we've got a
Stop the
gentleman on the
fest.
phone. Yes, we've got a fellow racer on the
cheese.
phone who, contrary to what Stormy does, he actually turns right and left on purpose.
Oof.
But he's also in a good, strong movement to try and curtail the street racing that's going on. And Aaron, why don't you? I'll mess up your last name. You know I will.
Schwartzbart.
That's easy for you to say.
Right. I have half the alphabet for only 2 syllables. Not very economical.
That's funny.
How are you doing this evening?
I'm exhausted, but I'm very glad to be alive. Extremely excited to be talking to you about what we're talking about.
All right, tell me about it. Tell us about what you're doing and what you're trying to get done. And I know you honored me by having me on one of your discussion panels at the Los Angeles Police Department.
Yeah, so we started holding racers panel discussions with the LAPD a couple of years ago that bring together motorsports professionals like myself and yourself and officers, community advocates, media, Hollywood types, government officials to talk about what can we do about the street racing problem. And we've done something a little unusual in that we invite the illegal street racers to come to the table with us and weigh in. Not a lot of them show up, but some do show up at these events. And I am completely opposed to illegal street racing. I've made some enemies based on my opposition to illegal street racing, and I'm fine with that. I drive like a homicidal maniac at racetracks throughout the western United States, very fast, much faster than I ever did when I was a youngster in the streets. And obviously much more safely and legally. We never ever have innocent bystanders standing close enough to the racing surface at our road racing events for anybody other than the driver to be at risk. And generally, the drivers are at much less risk at our events than anything that's done illegally in the streets. We've lost maybe 5 drivers in the last 10 or 20 years, compared with greater than 1,000 people in the streets that have been lost due to street racing, excessive speed, road rage, things like that.
All right, now you've got a program coming up shortly that that we were talking about on the other day. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that was the background. So one of the things that has come out of this racers panel discussion activity is that some subset of the people that are making bad choices in the streets are not really very serious about racing. They don't want to invest in safety equipment. They don't want to invest in a hauler and trailer a couple hours to get to the track and stuff. And by their own admission, at these racers panel discussions, they've said, it's really more of a social thing for us. We don't want tech inspection. We just sort of want to be able to stand around and party and have a meet and do donuts and stuff like that. So the National Autosport Association, with whom I'm a 3-time champion and for whom I'm a driving instructor and a chaplain, has graciously allowed us at 5 of our race dates throughout the 2017 season to have what we're calling the Motor Gospel Power Hour, where we're offering for free to anybody that shows up various types of activities that are inspired by the car culture. Will be legal, will be in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, Central Bureau of Street Racing Task Force. We'll all be together. The specific thing we're doing at Auto Club on Saturday, May 20th, that's a week from this Saturday, is on the 2 infield parking lots in the driveway that leads to the garage area. The garages will be filled with $3 million worth of our race cars. We'll be on track, blasting around 150, 200 miles an hour road racing on the track. But those two parking lots that flank the driveway leading to our garage area, one side will be a car meet, and the other side will be an autocross. And pretty much no tech inspection, like the subset of the crowd that say they don't really want to have to work that hard, so they're not going to be going very fast. They'll be going 50 miles an hour around orange cones or whatever. The other side, there will be a car meet, and then we're going to let them stay and party all night long if they want to. It'll be a legal car meet that can go till the sun comes up if they want. We'll be racing 8 to 5 on Saturday and 8 to 5 on Sunday on track, and our guests, the people that will be coming for the car meet, the autocross, the all-night party, all that, they're welcome to stay as long as they want to. They can hang out for the whole weekend. And we will be offering e-ticket shotgun rides on a first-come, first-served basis with our qualified instructors, where they'll get to ride shotgun for free at, upwards of 150 miles an hour around the track.
What kind of cars?
Oh man, the one of the fastest amongst us is a kid that's about 14. Generally, you have to be at least 16 and have a license to drive with us. But some of these wonder children have racing resumes dating back to the crib, basically. A Jeff Gordon. One of the fastest among us is a kid, maybe 13 or 14, probably not old enough to shave. He's in a Lamborghini. I don't know how you pronounce Hurricane or Huracan. How do you pronounce the Lamborghini that starts with H?
Carefully.
Yeah, right. So Lamborghini Huracan, however you pronounce that.
Yeah.
He's in one of those Lambos. He's 13 or 14 years old. It's not a street car. It's a full-on factory Lambo race car, and he's just absolutely blindingly fast. Very mature young man. And then we have at the other end of the spectrum, we have people in old Toyotas and stuff like that, pickup trucks, minivans, whatever you can afford. My car, as you probably know, the John 316 race car is a Porsche 914 with a 383 stroker motor in it.
Oh.
It rolls, it spins the rollers from 90 to 180 miles an hour in 13 seconds on the dyno in a 40-year-old Volkswagen.
I didn't realize you had a big motor in that machine.
Oh, heck yeah. I came from NASCAR. I'm real partial to American iron. It's kind of in my veins.
So you figured out how to get a Volkswagen to go fast.
Oh, yeah. It turns and it goes in a straight line and it stops. It does all the above pretty credibly.
Where does someone have to go? Is there a website that they can go to find out information about this?
Right now what we have is all over Facebook. There's a flyer on the Motor Gospel Ministries Facebook page, on the Motor Gospel Youth Center. The Motor Gospel Youth Center is a place where we teach after-school auto shop to at-risk youth with a pretty strong emphasis on using their skills at the track, not in the streets. So, but I digress. Motor Gospel Youth Center Facebook page, Motor Gospel Ministries Facebook page, or Aaron Schwartzbart Facebook page. We do have motorgospel.org website, but I don't update that nearly as frequently as I update the Facebook pages. So the flyer for the Motor Gospel Power Hour that's going to be happening at Auto Club Speedway Saturday, May 20th, is all over those Facebook pages.
I'm going to try and get out there in the morning. As you know, we talked the other night, and I've got an event that I've got to do that evening in Irwindale. But, hey, Irwindale, Fontana, same basic neighborhood. I can.
Right.
I'll try and get out there Saturday morning and see the event with you and be part of it. And we both agree, and I think all of us agree. Stormy's a drag racer. Mm-hmm. Anna's involved in the car hobby and the industry as well. There's no place on the street for racing.
Never.
Unless it's Long Beach Grand Prix, where it's blocked off and it's a controlled situation. If you're gonna race, you've got a perfect outlet for them if they want to turn left and right. If they want to come out to Irwindale, we'll put them on a drag strip for $20. Now they got to pass a safety inspection, but and it's for their own safety. But we'll put them on a track. $20 to go drag racing or going to your event. What is the cost to participate?
Free.
All right. Free versus a multi-$100 ticket. If you're lucky, you only get the ticket.
Right.
For street racing. It's a no-brainer to me. Yet we still have it, and we experienced the street racer mentality people. We experienced that when we did the panel discussion at the LAPD. And unfortunately, not unfortunately, and I think Stormy's done this as well, we came from the street.
Me too.
We started there. Everyone does. The first street race happened when the first horse and buggy met another horse and buggy. This is nothing new. This is not rocket science. It's been going on since the wheel was invented. But the thing is, we've got to do it safe. We've learned over the years, and when Fontana's drag strip shut down for 2 years, they averaged a death a month.
Wow.
From street racing. So it's not, we get these naysayers that say, well, take your car hobby, you shouldn't be doing this. You know what? It's not that. It's going to happen. You can either have it happen safely or you can have it happen unsafe. And if you give people an outlet, they will try it. And I know the people that are promoting their name is street racers, and I nothing against them. I started with that group 40 some odd years ago. Actually more than that. Damn. But anyway, they're trying to resurrect an old drag strip that was in Wilmington. They're not having much luck at it. But we need to bring those people, as well as the impromptu racers, to go to a track. Learn how to do it the right way and the safe way. And I think the night that we had that panel discussion, we had the parents of someone who was deceased because of a impromptu street race.
Yes.
And it's a matter of trying to explain to people that some of the street racing that's going on, or what they're calling a street race, is not organized. They're impromptu. It's two egos getting side by side with each other, or people getting road rage and driving at high rates of speed. It's not necessarily the organized street racing that is creating a problem. It's the impromptu. That's hard to stop. And that's always going to happen. But giving those people that are promoting street racing, like we saw here in Southern California last year in Canoga Park, where 2 people or 3 people were killed when a car went out of control at an organized street race. It may be organized, but it's not a safe situation. They blocked off some streets. They went out there. They tried to replicate that TV show that I won't mention that glorifies street racing, and it went bad. And it was one of the guys that was on that show. So it's not... We're not trying to stop you from racing. We're trying to help you race safe. And we talk about this on a regular basis. You're talking about it. You're actually very active in stopping this, stopping the street racing. So, all right. So they go to your Facebook page.
Yeah.
And they can come out to Fontana next weekend.
Yes.
At Auto Club Speedway in Fontana. See what legitimate racing and autocrossing. And to me, autocrossing was the way I got off the street, because I found it real fun to turn left and right and learn how to control a car. And that's what you're going to allow people to do. Then they can learn that they can take lessons. There are track days at Fontana on the Speedway. I know a number of people that they've gotten back into it. They can't afford wheel-to-wheel racing, but they can do track days. And just have fun with the car. Take out your Subaru, especially those new little 2-seat sports cars. Take out your Z car, your Corvette, your Mustang, whatever you think happens to be quick. Go out and learn how to drive properly and safely.
Excuse me, not only that, but I'd like to see them go up against a 13-year-old in a Lamborghini. Yeah, you want to talk about being having ego? Yeah. Take that to the track, and then let's see what you're made out of.
Well, and that's just it. Everyone says, "Well, I can drive fast." Well, you may be able to drive fast, but can you really drive fast? Pushing the pedal down doesn't mean you're driving fast. It just means you're going fast.
Right.
Learning how to turn left and right, or learning how to accelerate properly. And
control. It's really about controlling the vehicle.
Yeah.
It's about defensive driving, not aggressive driving. And Aaron, I want to thank you for doing that, because I lost 3 of my friends to illegal street racing by the time I was 17. And, I'm a former illegal street racer in the San Fernando Valley. And you lose a friend or 2 or 3, and then you realize, hey, it's not all what it's cracked up to be. And the guys that aren't showing up to your event, it's because they know they're doing something wrong and they don't want to get caught. If they were really serious about it, they would show up and learn how to drive proper on the track even, and it's more fun at the track anyway. Talk about a social scene.
All
All the cute guys are there.
Well, then why would I want to go? All right, Aaron, thank you very much for calling in. Hopefully we get some people coming out to your event on the 20th at Fontana, 20th and 21st at Auto Club Speedway, right?
Yes.
All right, be there. It's absolutely, positively free. And if you've never gotten a ride in a high-dollar exotic, you can have it happen there. Thank you, Aaron. Have a great day, and we'll be talking to you again.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Keep up the great work, y'all.
Thanks, Guy. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, thanks, Aaron. We are going to go to a short break, and we're going to talk about a legitimate drag race that happens every year in Bowling Green. It's the Holly National Hot Rod Reunion. We're back! The 15th Annual Holly National Hot Rod Reunion, presented by AAA Insurance, returns to Bowling Green June 15th through the 17th. Father's Day weekend at historic Beach Bend Raceway. Get your tickets today for 3 days of quarter-mile nitro, nostalgia, hotheads, drag racing, and Exalta's giant show and shine. Check out the vintage swap meet and vendor midway. Buy before May 29th for a $10 savings over gate admission. Kids 15 and under, free with paid adult. Auto Club members save even more. Tickets available by calling 1-800-884-6472 or online at nhra.com/Hot Rod Reunion. Buy at the gate for just $25 a day. For more information, visit us at nhramuseum.org and click on Reunions.
Open road, here comes the Heffley family.
Whether it's a short trip or a long haul,
estimated time 47 hours.
they will beg.
You're hungry? I'm happy to provide.
They will plead.
Deep fried butter on a stick.
But whatever you do, don't wimp out.
Now you're talking.
Make them buckle up.
He can't hurt.
Remember, safety first. Cheese curls second.
Are you orange?
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
On race day.
All right, welcome back. You've got gas. I'm Hot Rod Bob. We've got Anna Octane, our bodacious Bruce Barker, and in the tower with us, a tower. This is a studio.
Yeah, we're in the tower.
We're in the tower.
Close enough.
We're on the high-rise gas studios.
I'm on the high chair.
You are. Well, you lowered it earlier. We've got Stormy Bird, drag racer extraordinaire, owner of the Revelation, and that is an amazing car. We've been watching you. I've been watching you race for what, 35, almost 40 years.
We both had dark hair back then.
We did. We did. We were a lot younger, and we had dark hair, and
there's actually blessings to be counted there because
a lot of
you
people
guys still have hairs.
Yeah,
Yes.
and a lot of people didn't get there to have.
That's true.
Yeah, good point.
We can talk about the good old days because we actually lived them, but we're still living them. And we're still doing them. That's the thing. One person asked me, how do I know so much about the drag racing that I'm involved with? And it's well, I'm kind of like the oldies DJ. When I started doing the announcing at racing, these cars were new. So I'm just telling you the stuff I learned back when these things were new. You're looking at these things as historical pieces, and you're wondering, how did I get all this historical information? Well, it's because I lived it.
Oh, hell, my car's been around 52 years.
Yeah.
I've owned it well over 30 years. I mean, it just...
Well, yeah, well over 30, because I met you, 1990?
Yeah.
We were doing NDRA.
Yeah, back at the LA County Raceway. I mean, that's where a lot of it started, and we've gone all over the world and the country, and we've had a great time. We just keep doing it. I mean, it's our passion, it's our love, it's our sickness.
Yeah, it is. And you've been into the racing part. I did the racing, but I turned left and right, kind of like Aaron that we just spoke with. I didn't have the high-powered car, a 383 Chevy in the back of a Porsche. Oh, that's a dream car. But I didn't race that. I ran small compacts and Volkswagens and things of that nature. And Anna, you're into cars just like we are. You've got a Studebaker, and your daily driver's been a Mustang, a 65 Mustang.
A lowered street machine, 66 Ford Mustang.
66, okay. They all
Do you know
look
what
alike
Ford stands for?
Which time?
First on race day.
Well, you know what? Now that you've brought that up, we had a poll, and we asked our watchers and viewers to tell us what they thought the acronyms for certain cars were. Well, we had a great response from a lot of the people. Bobby Schlegel, as always, he gave me 2 pages worth.
Boy. Bobby's good.
Bobby's good. But on Facebook, we had a number of people help us out with what they thought the proper acronym is for certain cars. And some of them are quite interesting. Like Jeff Bertrand, he came up with Pontiac. Poor old nitwit thinks it's a Cadillac.
That's a good one.
It takes a lot of thought to get through that one.
It does. Then he also said Jeep, just empty every pocket, which that's what I've been using in Irwindale quite a bit.
We need to send him some stickers.
Oh, we got to get them first.
How about Fiat? Fix it again, Tony.
Yeah. And on a side note of that, Fiat has a very good reputation. They have been making owners into mechanics for decades.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's see. Darn old Dodge goes everywhere. Dodge. Darn Dodge
Who
goes
said
everywhere.
That? Who said that?
Mark
That's a good one.
Mark Hilmes. Hilmes. Thank you.
Wow, I wonder if people have sent stuff in for longer car names, like Oldsmobile.
Oh, yes, we have Oldsmobile
Ooh.
here. Let me find that one for you. While we're talking about that, I have Chevrolet. Cracked head, every valve rattles, oil leaks every time. I think this guy's a Ford fan. I'm not sure.
That's awesome. He's definitely getting a sticker.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that is so funny.
Ford frequently overhauls and rapid depreciation. And that was from George Morgan. I'm trying to find the Oldsmobile one. I did highlight that so I could find it. It's in here someplace, but I get, GMC, Great Mountain Climber.
Oh, okay. All right.
Jeep, just expect excessive problems. And then there's Mopar, miscellaneous old parts assembled rusting.
Assembled rusting.
Or assembled randomly.
Oh,
and that was George Morgan as well.
That's funny.
Dennis Prather gave me this one. It's Fiat. Failure in automotive technology.
Oh, man.
Jesus.
Oh.
Here's one for GTO.
Yes, which one?
Garbage truck option.
Yes, or gas, tires, and oil.
How about, here's a good one. Datsun, driven at terminal speed, something trying to find Nirvana.
That's Steve Marquardt.
Oh, Steve's good.
See, what Steve does too. Now his Datsun, he runs a Datsun pickup truck, and his daughter Amber drives it at Irwindale. But he listened to me one time. I told him it was a waste of money to purge the nitrous outside the cab. So he runs a line right to the helmet. I mean, why waste the nitrous? Have some fun with it.
So you just see the jets sort of coming out the side windows.
That's it, yes. And then there's, let's see, a lot of people, some people have this disease. It's called dyslexia. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're dyslexic, Ford means driver returns on foot.
They have one from here, Dave Rowan. It says, BMW, break my wallet.
Yes.
I say Barbarian Motorworks.
See, now, I worked for BMW corporate at one point in time, and they had these blah junk radios. And everyone was breaking the windows to steal these radios because they were easy to get out of the dash of the old 320i's.
Yeah.
So BMW stood for break my window.
Ah, that's a good one.
I had an attorney in Florida try and sue BMW because the windows broke too easily.
Another one from Dave Rowan, GTO, get tools out.
Tools out.
I like it, though.
And Belinda Kepler, She drives up. She races a Volkswagen.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of the racers that comes out to Irwindale. She'll be out there the 21st as well for the Hot VW's drag day. But she goes, Jeep, just expect excessive problems.
That's a good one.
Still trying to find that Oldsmobile one.
I still like Ford first on race day because that's what I drive. I'm a Ford girl.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You're driving a Studebaker.
No, I have a 55 Studebaker Commander that
You
Mitch
have a
is working
Studebaker,
on to be
yeah.
a custom. We're not
Okay.
going to race that one.
No,
We're
you're not going to race
that
it.
one.
You're going to cruise it.
Yeah.
Studebaker. What does Studebaker stand for? Never mind.
Boy, yeah.
Oh, I've got one. Studebaker stands for Studi Bank Breaker.
Oh,
it's costing me a lot of money.
Stupid bank breaker, yes.
kind of a half acronym and sort of a half, word association.
Fellow announcer
Okay.
and drag racer extraordinaire. He's just having a blast. Craig Dales. He's got a dragster now, but he's been racing a Beretta as a super gas car, and he came up with one for Beretta. Well, no, he didn't. It says, I'm going to have to work on that one. I probably won't post it because it looks like an invite to get a bit, well, nasty.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well, all right.
Yeah. Well,
Craig
B words
Dales.
can start going
B words,
south.
yes, that's what it was. It's a B word.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for that Oldsmobile.
Blonde
but,
is a B word.
Blonde
That
definitely
goes south.
is. And
Blondes go south.
Excuse
Excuse me, can I say something?
Oh, go right ahead. Martin Chesworth, she's talking again.
I want to shout out to Martin Chesworth for calling me out on that on Facebook.
Yeah, that was
Martin and Ingrid.
Martin and Ingrid, they're a great couple. We always see them at the
Fantastic
Hot Rod
people. I love
reunion
them.
Yeah.
Here in California, they come in from Great Britain for it, and it just, they're great because they always come up and say hello. And I hate to say this, but I have a number of friends on Facebook. They are a couple of friends on Facebook. And I don't necessarily remember what everyone's face looks like until they tell me their name. And they go, oh, yeah. Or it's like you, for example, Stormy. I didn't know you outside your car for years.
Yeah. Oh, I know. It's the helmet.
Yeah, it was
I
just
kept
the helmet,
incognito. But Martin and Ingrid, I'll tell you, they've got more Revelation T-shirts and jackets than I ever had.
Yeah.
They're great.
Oh, they're
Ingrid's
I
a
love
hot
them both.
redhead, too,
She
you know.
is.
They're,
All right.
they're both fiery.
Kia killed in action.
Oh, ouch, ouch.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
That's bad.
If you can't find Oldsmobile, I wonder if there is a letter-by-letter one for Studebaker, because that's also a long name. Or what'd be a Chevrolet, of course, is another long one.
Maybe
that
it was
you pulled
Bobby
up.
that did the Studebaker or the Oldsmobile. He did a whole bunch of different. Oh, there's the Chevrolet. Cracked head, every valve rattles, oil leaks every time. Definitely. Okay, now Bobby came up with a list. I got to give credit to Bobby Schlegel. I know we had hundreds of people providing acronyms. Bobby provided hundreds by himself.
He's good.
And here's the Oldsmobile one. I found it. It says,
Okay.
old ladies driving slowly, making others behind insanely late every day.
Nice.
That's a good one,
He was
Bobby.
thinking about this. What happens when you retire? Okay.
Too much time on your hands.
Yeah, GM. General maintenance. Great mistake. Garbage motors.
Oh.
Generally miserable. Grossly misconceived.
Grossly.
Or glutinous matamus. I say it's generous motors. And so forth. Then there's GMC. Garage man's companion.
Oh, wow.
Got mechanic coming.
Mechanic car.
Yeah, generally mediocre cars, trucks. Get more chicks in a GMC. Well, I guess depending on what part of the country you're from.
Sure.
God's mechanical curse. Got more crap. Great mountain climber. Then there's the GTO, the gas, tires, and oil.
Yeah.
And now Bobby is very politically correct. He does not just pick on American-made cars. He's got some imports here. Honda had one, never did again.
That's good.
Hang on, not done accelerating. Hallmark of nondescript automobiles.
Wait a minute, I still love that. Hang on, not done accelerating.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm getting there, man.
Yeah, I'm still going, yeah. I'm getting there. Okay.
The rubber band wound up as tight as it'll go.
Hyundai, hope you understand nothing's drivable and inexpensive. Jeep just eats every part. Mazda, most always zipping dangerously along.
Okay,
Goes,
okay.
Now, for those of you who like British vehicles, Martin, you might understand this one. MG, money guzzler.
Yeah.
MGB, might go backwards. Now for you Japanese car enthusiasts, Miata, my intention always to accelerate.
I know a lot of Miata drivers who are exactly that way.
That way, yeah. Oh, I know, Anna, this one's specifically for you.
Uh-oh.
Mustang, motor under strain, transmission almost no good.
That's not true. I've got a hell of a car.
Where is it right now?
Almost no
It's,
good. What a
it's
phrase.
hiding.
It's hiding.
It's
yes.
hiding.
It's dormant.
I don't want anybody
Why?
to know where it is because they were
Yes.
stealing parts off of my car.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, Pinto, put in nickel to operate.
That's a good one.
Paid inspector, nicely to overlook. Plymouth.
Oh, that's Lincoln.
It's a Pinto.
No,
Pinto. Paid inspector, nicely to
inspector.
overlook.
Not to look, yes. Porsche, proof of rich, spoiled children having everything.
Wow.
Subaru, screwed up beyond all repair usually.
Had to have that usually hanging on the end.
And Yompinini, we got one for the Volvo. Yeah, we do. It's very odd-looking vehicular object.
Yes, but they're safe.
It's safe, yes. You can crash one and still walk away from it. Saab. Now, this is a brand that Generous Motors put in the ground.
The workers at the factory there must be just so PO'd.
Oh, General Motors. They had a chance to sell it, and instead they just closed them down. And the reorganization led by our illustrious government allowed it. They put a number of brands out of business completely. Saab was an international brand that was buried by Generous Motors, and here's some of the acronyms for them. Sorry, auto always broken.
No.
Shape appears ass backwards. And if you've ever seen a Saab, there are a few that you can't tell whether they're coming or going.
It's so true.
Swedish automotive always breaks down. Send another automobile back.
Saab, that's the one that has the front engine, but it's reversed. You know, they built jets also, jet fighters, and they put
that's the scary part.
Yeah, they put the engines backward in those also.
Well, they also had the ignition key on the floor. It was in the console right behind the shifter.
Do you know what's cool about all those cars, though?
No.
They've got gas.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
We love cars.
Well, Stormy, you and I must be cars then.
Yeah, well.
That's another story altogether, and has
sound but deadly.
No more pizza and ice cream for us.
Yeah. I wonder if Saab's last product was a car or an aircraft. Because you're right, they made airplanes.
Mm-hmm. They may still be making the aircraft aspect of it. I don't know if that was a separate division that wasn't screwed up by General Motors, but the car business was shut down. There was a Chinese conglomerate that was trying to buy it, but if General Motors had sold Saab, Penske was trying to buy Saturn, Isuzu was trying to buy the truck business back. No one did anything to save Pontiac. But if they had kept those brands and not just closed them down, they probably wouldn't have gotten the bailout. And they would have had to actually build cars that people wanted.
Wow. So they chose instead the bailout. At least that's the theory. And, Saturn, one of the last vehicles they were making. Of course, they had the View and some of these.
Saturns were good cars.
Yeah. And the Saturn Sky, which was the Pontiac Solstice. Holy cow. I always thought, there was some design issues maybe because it was almost like too macho. It was so aggressive. But I always wanted to drive one of those because it just looks so cool. And, I'd heard that the gas mileage is poor, and, the acceleration ain't no big deal. But it's a pretty cool-looking car, and it was a shame that they shut that whole line.
When I worked on General Automotive, we did less works on Saturns. I mean, maybe a water pump occasionally and a coil pack. They were excellent cars. They're very dependable.
Huh, what do you know? And a lot of them still aren't on the street.
But they have to kill anything at last because they want throwaway cars.
Yeah, and that was part of the problem. The other thing that General Motors started, which was a good idea at the first, is the Saturn did not share mechanicals with the other GM vehicles at first. Now, the Saturn Sky that we talked about, that shared the mechanicals with Saab, Chevrolet, They used the Ecotec or the Ecotec engine, but it was rear drive. So it shared everything with Pontiac. The only thing difference between a Sky and a Solstice was the bodywork. Mechanically, they were identical. One of the Saturns that came in later was actually an Opel. Now, in General Motors' infinite wisdom, Opel is now gone.
Wow.
They shut that down just a short time ago.
And that brand lived for a long time.
Yeah, Opel was, they were one of the oldest European car companies. And they made some great vehicles.
Actually, when General Motors brought those into the United States, it helped bail them out of bankruptcy the first time. Yeah. We actually have one at the Peterson Automotive Museum. They've turned it into a drag wagon. We have an Opel Cadet drag wagon.
Oh, so it's a Cadet.
Okay, you guys got one too.
Yeah, actually, we just sold the little Miho. It's a '67 Opel Cadet, and it was a great little car. I mean, they're good looking. They were pretty dependable. What was funny is at Formosa Raceway, we entered it in an import race, which it is, was an import. Yeah. And he said, "Well, you have a Chevy engine." I said, "Well, yeah, but it's got a Mercedes crank and rods and pistons." And he goes, "Oh, really? Okay, you can run it." So,
well, yeah, say it was the engine came out of Mexico, where Chevy V8s come out of now.
Yeah,
gee whiz, I mean,
still an import.
Yeah, but Opel had some great history. Junior Thompson. Ran an Opel GT.
Oh, I know.
And they called those mini brutes, or not, no, the Cadet was the mini brute. Mm-hmm. The Opel GT was the mini vet.
Yeah, and it looked like a vet.
It looked like a vet.
It was a little vet.
It looked like a 68, 69, a third generation Corvette. It had pop-up headlights. It was kind of strange sitting in them. And when they first came out, they had an 1100cc engine. And again, European background, the horsepower wars weren't the same as they were here. Yeah. There it was fuel economy and narrow cars. But the Manta was a neat Opel. I had a buddy that had one of those, and they were great running cars. You can't find them.
Don Mozzi's dad used to run a blown gas little Opel.
There's a lot of guys ran the Opel Cadets. They had a wagon version. They had the fastback. The Manta had a four-door. It had a wagon. The Opel GT was out for a number of years. Mm-hmm. Saab had a sports car, too. They call it the Saab Sonnet.
Yeah. Fiberglass, right?
Yeah, fiberglass body. And
did that look ass backwards?
No, but it did look strange.
It was strange.
It was a
you know what?
Little car.
Excuse me, can I say something? I want to give a shout out to Don Mozzi because she did a phenomenal video.
Dawn and I went to high school together.
What was that video called that she did? The one with all the clips of the racing.
The March Meet.
4 Days of Madness. What a phenomenal.
Yeah, I haven't seen
outstanding.
Haven't seen
video.
Dawn in a long time, but we were talking about it, and we went to the same high school. I don't know if we went at the same time. But we went to the same high school.
Okay. Well, I'm going to shout out to Don. Thanks for a great job on that. Everybody needs to go to YouTube and look at 4 Days of Madness because that is a phenomenal video.
Did a fantastic job.
All right,
fabulous.
Now, we've got some events coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And Stormy, you were talking about some. You're going to Eagle Field.
Yeah, Rocky Phillips. Rocky's long gone. Eagle Field, May 17th to the 21st. I'll be match racing the Evil Twin engine dragster up there. We're just side by side smokers. Then I'll take my crime partner. We're going to be going down to the Meltdown Drags in Byron, Illinois. That's the old Rockford drag strip. They ran 4 wide. Sorry, NHRA, you weren't the first. The Koopmeyer brothers put it on, and that's July 14th through the 16th. And then we have a new thing we're going to go out and try. A friend of ours on Facebook is Dylan Sensenig. He's having what's called the Tri-State Hot Rod Revival, and that'll be August 18th through the 20th, and that's at Julesburg Drag Strip. That's northeast Colorado, and it's for cars 72 on down. This is one of the oldest drag strips in the nation, still running. It's an old airport, he said. Wow. And basically, we're going to be going there. We're going to be doing some match racing and a lot of 8th mile stuff, a lot of exhibition stuff, so we're going to go out there and do our magic, our insanity, whatever. I mean, it helps to have a racing partner has the same mental illness, and we share the same meds, so it keeps down the cost.
There you go. You can have it. Listen, I'm going to get this.
But you can check him out on Facebook, Dylan Sensenig.
Dylan Senseneg on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Get some drags.
He's put it on the Tri-State Hot Rod Revival in Julesburg, Colorado.
And Memorial Day weekend, West Coast Customs is happening. This is not West Coast Customs.
I'll
West
be
Coast
there.
Customs. You're going to be there. I'm not going to be able to make
I'll
it
be
this
there
year.
harassing everybody.
Will you? I'd like harassed, but that's another story. I haven't missed a West Coast Customs event in the last 7 years, and unfortunately, I'm going to miss this year's. So say hello to Penny Brissette and Rit. They put on a wonderful show. It is the place to culminate customs.
Yes.
It is the best customs in the West come there, and the people that made history and are making the new history are there. Now, also, the car club I belong to, the Road Kings. We have our annual charity show coming out. It's going to be June 11th at Johnny Carson Park in beautiful downtown Burbank. Now, one of the things that's different this year is it is a paid show. In the past, it has not been a paid show, but the city of Burbank, in their infinite wisdom, has decided to charge us to use the park. So, to get the money together for the charities, we're going to charge a minimal fee to get your car in there. And we're going to have shirts. We're going to have the vendors display. We're going to have lots of things, just like we've always had. But we're adding judging. So not only are you got to pay to enter your vehicle, but we're going to judge it. We're going to actually give out trophies this year. It's something we haven't done at this particular show, but we're going to do it. It's June 11th at Johnny Carson Park. Go onto the website for the Road Kings. Get your application. And let's see if I can get an email.
Is TV Tommy Ivo going to be there?
TV Tommy does show up sometimes. Of course, he sleeps till noon, and but he
and
is
Jay Leno
daytime,
shows
nighttime.
up,
Jay
doesn't
Leno
he?
does
Jay
show
Leno
up. He
shows
drives
up.
through the lot
Yeah.
and says hello to everybody. But some of our original members, we have 19 NHRA record holders. We have 2 or 3 200-mile-an-hour club members at SCTA in Bonneville. Some of our early members, Tommy Ivo, Don the Snake Perdome, Tom McCurry, and
Bob Moravis,
the freight train driver. Now, a lot of people,
Jimmy Miles,
who drove the Magic
The Road
Muffler car.
Kings are like the Hollywood car club celebrity guys.
Kind of, yes.
Yes, they are very prestigious.
We were the history makers, the Cedarquist brothers, the Sauer sisters, record holders.
Can I touch you? You're a Road King.
Oh. Stormy. She's doing
I
it
can
again.
touch Stormy,
just
too.
Go with it. Just go with it.
He's a
Just go with
famoso
it.
mobster. I'll touch
right.
him, too.
There you go.
And then I'm going to touch Bruce later.
Long arms to get over here.
Martin, stay in Britain.
No, come on over and join the
Come on over and
insanity.
join us. And we got Marty Woods down in Australia. I'll tell you what. And then there's Bobby Schlegel. Bobby, we're going to have to get you out to the left coast sometime. Email burbankroadkings@gmail.com to find out more information, or give them a call at area code 818-842-5464. And the show is going to be at Johnny Carson Park, 400 South Bob Hope Drive, Burbank, California. It's right alongside what used to be CBS Studios, where Jay Leno and Johnny Carson did their show from. It's now something else studios.
It's called the Burbank Studios.
Yeah, now they just rent out the studios for anyone who wants to record their own show. And,
Like us.
Like us, kind of, except we're not.
And you know
big.
what?
No.
After the Road Kings, you can go to Bob's Big Boy.
You can.
Yes, the
Yes.
famous Bob's Big Boy.
The one and only, the one that was on the cover of Life magazine
Right.
with Norm Grabowski in his tea bucket.
Right.
They are at Bob's Big Boy. It is the last of the original Bob's Big Boys that were made. All the others are gone. It was number 3, and I believe is what the number was. It is in the same location. They have updated it. It is a state, not historic, but it is a landmark. Now, at one point in time, they were going to tear it down and build an office building. The Road Kings got together, got a petition signed by enough people. It can only be a restaurant. And
How
a Bob's
about
Big Boy.
that?
It is the
And
most,
it's Googie
yes.
architecture by Wayne McAllister
Yes.
from, what, the 50s?
Yeah, it was
The
built in the
50s?
early 1950s.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, it's
and
Art
they,
Deco.
They also have, don't they have the roller skate girls still?
No.
No, no more.
No.
Okay.
No. It's, sodas in people's interior, it doesn't work. But they do have cruise nights there every Friday night. And then once a month they have a car show on Saturday night. So Bob's Big Boy in Toluca Lake, Burbank. It depends on whether you live in Toluca Lake or you live in Burbank, that's where you say it is. I have no idea, actually. We call it Burbank Bob's, but it's in Toluca Lake.
I think Cahuenga is the borderline, isn't it? Cahuenga and Burbank Boulevard?
Well, yeah, if you go a block south, you're also in
Riverside and Cahuenga.
I think it's it's all that.
It's all
people
that
sort of.
stuff.
It's like Valley Village.
Valley
People want to have their little community.
We don't want to be
called
North Hollywood. We're Valley Village because we're exclusive.
Yes, Toluca Terrace.
It's like North Hills. Abbreviations NO Hills. Yeah, no hills.
Yeah.
Well, North Hollywood is NoHo. Would you rather want to live in NoHo or in Valley Village?
Well, I remember her.
There.
But that's another story altogether, too.
Oh, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our rope show. And our gas is just about over, but Bruce, why don't you close it out for us like you usually do?
Well, I tell you what. First, I'm going to reach way over here because we'll have a little bit of the show theme to kind of carry us out. Man, it's been great to see you guys. Anna Octane, you again? What, you again?
Me
Stormy
again.
Bird. We haven't seen you in weeks and weeks. Good to see you in the studio again.
Drive the streets, race the track.
That's it.
Yay!
There you go. I'm Bruce Barker. Hey, Hot Rod Bob, I guess a couple of weeks we're back with another edition of the Great American Auto Scene.
We are. Second and fourth Wednesdays of the month. Tune in right here on GotGas.com or on Facebook at GAS, Great American Auto Scene. That's GAAS. And remember, you've always got gas with us.
Not with me. You get kisses from me.
Oh,
hey, man.
Well, women are a little bit different. That's why they talk so much. If they didn't, they'd explode.
So that's it.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah. Oh, am I going to get hit over that one?
Oh, man, you've got issues coming there, pal.
Yeah, wait till I get home tonight.
All right. Coming up next, the encore presentation of the very show you're watching now. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Great American Auto Scene.